I can do these without having to be on TV. I got to do some housekeeping. Bathrooms are down there, male and female. Exits all around here. God forbid we have any situations. That's where they are. Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Sue's got the flag. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I just want to note my wife Sue is the one who keeps Veterans Corners filled with the flags. We had been away for a while and they dropped down. So Evangelise back us up too. So she does keep the flags over there. I think that's very important. And we will be handing out flags again on Veterans Day. I thank the Valley Central School District for helping me out on this. The reason we're here today is because I tried Village Hall. I was going to have ADA compliant downstairs and use the court upstairs. However, they have court, so we couldn't do that. We can't do the senior center because there's voting there. We couldn't do this because the Girl Scouts were here. We're a scouting family, and I wasn't going to touch that. So I tried with Valley Central. They were working on it, and then the Girl Scouts said they didn't have enough scouts here, so we fell back to here. So that's how we wound up with this today. My wife and I, we now are investors. We always were, but we're getting into it more outside of the state of New York. We just came back from a business vacation. We engaged with a couple of business deals in the South. Everybody seems to be moving south. And while we were doing it, I stopped in several municipalities. One municipality we had to stop in to get documents notarized. Am I right in here, Billy? Am I okay? Billy, am I all right here? We had to stop in a place to get things notarized. So I saw a sign that said mayor. I said, can I speak with the mayor there? Well, she brought me in her office. We spoke for a while. And she said, she says, do you do meetings with the mayor? I says, no, I don't. So she says, that's a meeting where the mayor speaks to the public without a board, just tells them, keeps them up to date, lets them do questions and answers. Says, you know what? I used to do that with the police department. When I ran a precinct, I would have block meetings, different meetings. Once a week I'd meet with this one. I said, I can do that. I can do that. She said, I suggest you do that. I said, that's great. That's really great. Very informal. You don't have to sign in. You don't have to give your name. Just meet the mayor. Listen to my message. So from the South, I called up Village Hall and said, let's set one up. Let's set one up. And depending on how tonight's goes, I'm going to do more of them. I think they're important. And I'm referring to my notes here. I do not have social media. I do not have Facebook. I have none of that. I have half of Facebook. I meet you face to face. Social media, my own opinion, is destroying this country. It's destroying things. People don't talk to each other anymore. 2 o'clock in the morning, they get on the internet and they write bad things about other people. I don't like it. It's disgusting. I'm not doing it. And you're not going to get me to change it. And you know what? That's my religion. I'm not doing it. But the meeting, the dates, I have to touch on this. The last 2 meetings I wasn't at. We knew these plans were coming up. We go on vacation in October. This one was even more important because we had some deals we had to do. So I asked the village board, can we change the meeting dates? Like we had agreed to at the beginning. We had changed meetings for other folks. Nope. I was voted against. We have a quorum. We're going to go with the dates. So I missed 2 meetings. Now, for some reason, and I don't know why it is, we don't have meetings on Election Day. Now, Election Day is not Election Day for the village. We could still have a meeting, but whatever it is, they don't have meetings on Election Day. So it was changed to the 3rd today. Okay, I changed my schedule around. Yeah, no problem, I could do that. Well, now it's changed to the 5th. I can't make that one. So these are why I wasn't at the last 2 meetings. That was it. I want to explain something. Some folks have asked me about this. ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement, is hitting different municipalities. They have the right to do it. Because we're a non-sanctuary village, it has nothing to do with it. And people are asking about this. No. Non-sanctuary village means that our police officers make an arrest, and if somebody's wanted outside of here and federal government, they turn them over to Immigration and Customs. Doesn't mean that ICE is coming in. Doesn't mean they're coming in kicking doors. I heard the marshals were down here looking for somebody recently. They have that authority to do that. They have the authority to do that. All it means is if our police department makes an arrest, and I'll use the poor girl Lincoln Riley as an example, and the suspect is wanted with the federal government, we turn the suspect over to the federal government so he doesn't go out and commit what happened to that poor girl there. Another thing folks had asked me about is homelessness. We're a very benevolent, caring municipality. If you're homeless, we'll refer you. We'll take care of you. But if you say, hey, the hell with you, Mayor, I'm setting a tent up on the front lawn. Nah, that's not going to fly here. We're not having that here. We're not having that here. You're not going to do that here. We'll help you out, but you're not going to ignore us, and you're not going to turn this place into a camp. One thing I want to touch on, we have a couple of big projects in this village, a couple of big projects that involves more than a village board, a mayor and a village board. One of them is the Weaver Street project. This is driving us crazy. This has been going on long before I was a trustee on this board, and I've had it. About 3-4 months, or maybe less than that, 3 months ago, I looked at the bills, so we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on Weaver Street, on this project here. I've seen it change from this owner to that owner to this owner to that owner, with all different ideas at the cost of taxpayers. So what I said was, I'm not spending another dime on village money to entertain these folks. And they also owed us a lot of money, so we're not moving any forward until they pay us. They paid us around $65,000 of back money that was owed over 5 years. They paid it back. And they said, I'm not doing anything until we find out if the groundwater table there is good. Okay. Well, now they are paying for all the studies. That's great. They're paying for all the studies. But you know what? This is too big of a project again. I think the village should explore buying that property. Buying that property. Now, you have to first see if they want to sell it. But I'll tell you right now, Mark, not questions yet, but I'll tell you right now, Mark, I would explore purchasing that property. The reason I say this is I'm not breaking any laws or anything like that, but I am not going to cut corners on that property. They better have every I dotted and every T crossed. And they might look and say, gee, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? And then I would say to a real estate agent, see if they want to sell that. And if we're lucky enough to buy it, float a bond and get it, I go to another real estate agent and I say, real estate agent, take that property and start dividing it up according to the way the residents in the village of Montgomery want. We the people, the way we want it. Maybe you want some raised ranches over here. Maybe you want some commercial over here. Whatever you want. It's decided by the village of Montgomery residents. Not somebody who lives somewhere else who'll just build it and skip town. It's decided by us. And then once, of course, we'd have to float a bond on this. Once it's settled, now say 12 raised ranches go there. All 12 of those people pay taxes to the village. Commercial, all pay taxes to the village. Whatever, they all pay taxes to the village, which in turn will take care of the bond we floated to get it. Instead of just wondering what's going to go on there. Because I wonder what's going to go on over here at Vistamore, Village of Goodwill, whatever name they come up with from day to day. Is it going to be a Montgomery Walmart? Even the farmers across the street don't know what's going there. If we don't start moving here, we're going to be in for a surprise. So, and the other way we can do it is we buy the property. We buy the property. Now, your taxes are going to go up. Your taxes are going to go up a lot to buy that property. We could hope that maybe the state will pay us money for it, or Orange County will pay money for it. That's a hope. But the first way, again, explore these options. Another thing I'm very proud of, and I credit the whole board, I credit the incredible people in Village Hall. When I took over here as mayor, we had $300,000 in a fund balance. $300,000. Now we have like $950 to almost $1 million in a fund balance. That's used in case of emergencies. You don't run your household like that. Everybody's got a stash of money somewhere they keep just in case, God forbid, they need money. Fire hydrants. Something I was not aware of. You presented me with a problem. I wasn't going to wait. I ran for this office, and my number one thing here is safety. Fire hydrants, fix them immediately, no matter what it takes. Board decided differently. I respect the decision, but I have to give credit to the DPW, the Department of Public Works under Jake Henry. They took 12 of 15 hydrants and made them work. They made them work. 3 of them are dead. You can't take the 3 of them. You can't take parts from all 3 of them and put them together and make one work. So I think sometime by April, those 3 will be working. However, under my leadership, the Department of Public Works superintendent is told there'll never be another hydrant that will stay broken. When we find out about it, it'll be fixed immediately. That will not happen again. I want to touch on our events coordinators. We met about a month and a half ago at Copperfields with Tracy Casey and Lori Dahl, our events coordinators that I appointed. They have so many volunteers that they've got. We don't even know them all. I met so many people. Folks who are volunteering, I would say every one of them lives in the village. They are here to volunteer, to make memories. The memories our kids grew up with, the memories we grew up with. We shouldn't be throwing roadblocks in front of them. We should be helping them. We shouldn't have them doing paperwork, get this, get that, get this. We should take care of it. We should be thankful that they're doing this. These are how memories are made. I'll touch on the sidewalks here, or the lack of them. I know the sidewalks up towards my neighborhood down there calling Hembury Highway. I get a kick out of it. But the bottom line is they cost $159,000. $159,000 for those sidewalks. Our Department of Public Works did them for $34,000. So now, I hear this all the time, what are we going to do from Lakeside to the post office? You see parents walking with their kids, pushing baby carriages. You run for your life for about 1,000 feet. Well, then you get to the post office, you cut across the street, you got 200 feet there, and then you can come back. Come on. We better start thinking of how we're spending our money here. All right, I got a price quote of doing that. That's around $40,000 with our DPW doing it. This needs to be taken care of. This is the village of Montgomery. We have nice pickleball courts, and I'm not going to knock them because we played pickleball down in Conway, South Carolina. However, that's for everybody. Sidewalks of village residents. My job is village residents. Another thing too, our lighting. Our lighting in this village, to keep the Central Hudson lights on and everything, $6,000 a month. $6,000 a month to keep the lights on. That includes the pickleball lights. Now, I'm sure everybody in this room says to their kids, hey, we don't have stock in Central Hudson. Turn those lights out. Look out the door. Are they on? Is anybody playing? This is village taxpayer money. This is what makes the taxes go up, leaving the light on. This is what makes your electric bill go on. I'm not knocking anybody on this, but I've welcomed almost 700 people into this village in the last 7 years. Knocking on the doors, welcome to the village of Montgomery. Where are you from? What do you do for a living? All information, rolling out the red carpet to our new residents. I have a lot of friends who have businesses in this community, and they thank me for doing that. Thank you all. They're not donating anything. They're having an advertisement. They're putting their pamphlet in, their menu, their gift certificate, whatever. They're not doing us a favor. They're getting advertisement from us. Well, they've asked me, why doesn't the Chamber of Commerce do anything? Why doesn't the business council do anything? I'm not calling anybody out, but I think the next time we go out, Chamber of Commerce, Business Council, bring your stuff down here to Village Hall. Those girls put them in the package. We should have a big package when we welcome the new neighbor. Not just what we could get. Not what, and it could be for the town. I don't care where it is from. However, at meetings, I will only advertise village businesses. Copperfields has something, Ward's Bridge, Iron Cafe, Java Blue. If they have something, I will mention it at the village meeting. However, welcoming new neighbors, they can put it in there. So, Business Council, Chamber of Commerce, that's your job. We'll help you do it. Term limits. Term limits. Politics is not a profession. It's not something, a career. There needs to be term limits on politicians. Nobody should be the king. Nobody should own an office. It belongs to me. It belongs to you. It belongs to everybody. It should not be your career. I've already had my careers. I'm on my third now. And it's not being a mayor. This is a proud position. And I'm very proud that people elected me to be the mayor of the village of Montgomery. But I work for you. You don't work for me. And when you get in these positions long enough, you start thinking, kiss my feet, people. I'm the king. No, we need term limits. That needs something to be decided on. Brian Moore and I are circulating a petition for residents to sign for Union Street here. About, I don't know, a couple months ago, a petition came out to join with the town and getting Union Street blacktopped. It was by Brian Moore and Rob it was Brian Moore on that. Brian and I went out, we looked, and there's just holes. It's just absolute holes. So the suggestion was to joint venture with the town to get this petition. I said, no. Most of 211 or Union Street goes to the village. I don't need to have a joint venture with the town. We'll do it ourselves. We'll take care of it ourselves. Brian calls me up the other day. He says, Mike, how you doing on the petition? We already sent it. He goes, you already sent it? I said, it's already up in Albany. He says, wow. He says, the town didn't do theirs. I said, they didn't? Well, there's the reason I didn't want to do it with them. He goes, what about this? He goes, you and I go out there and we can start getting signatures. Yeah. Let's get signatures. So not only are they going to get one of these petitions from the village of Montgomery, they're going to get individual names, voters. I'm going to have one put in the village hall. I'll have it all over. And you come down and you sign for it. And we'll send it up there. The town hasn't done theirs yet. I don't know. That's not my business. But I'm glad we did it ourselves. So, Hudson Valley Food Bank. These people are awesome neighbors. Absolutely awesome neighbors. The Hudson Valley Food Bank, that's a good place to work, too. They're still looking for people there. But they're also looking for volunteers. They have a turkey distribution on November 22nd, 10 a.m., first come, first serve. Their number, if you want to get involved, is 518-713-0550. And their email is thanksgiving@regionalfoodbank.net. So these guys are great. All right, Operation Toy Train, which my wife and I started 12 years ago in the village. 12 years ago in the village here. I just got this. The arrival time here is 1:45 to 2:25 p.m. in the village. That's when the train's coming. It got cut down about 10, 15 minutes because we're also doing Walden too. I thought we were doing Otisville, but apparently not that there. We've been going to meetings there. We were there about a month ago, and they were considering Otisville doing that. But it's Operation Toy Train. It's not the U.S. Marines this year because the Marines were deployed. So we're not just going to stop. Tracy Casey volunteers down there. So it'll still happen. And it's still going to be right down here, and we have a lot of volunteers handling that. So the reason we know it's November 14th, we knew this in the summertime because we were going to meetings. We only got the times tables because Jersey Transit runs that line. So they don't know until they can get it finalized. And it could change the last minute in December. December. Now we want to go to the 3-minute comment as opposed to the agenda. Okay. I don't know if people remember, but the prior administration, there was yelling and screaming at meetings. Yelling and screaming. How do I know? I was a trustee there. So when I took over, when I was voted in, when I became mayor, I said, I don't want to see this happening. 171 municipalities in the state don't have an agenda, don't have 3-minute comment. They just do it. I don't think that's right. I think the public needs to speak. So what I did was I said, let's keep it on as an agenda. Let's keep it on the agenda. And we did. And it was controlled. People wanted to talk, but it was controlled. Well, not that long ago, it came back to let's go to the 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Welcome to my world, what I went through for 3 minutes. And now it's happening again. So I think we should reconsider that. Again, I'm 1 out of 5 members on this board. But this is something I've been on for a while. I don't think it's out yet, but I got permission to do it. Anybody here go to the Polar Express up in Kingston? Anybody ever do that? It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We are exploring, myself, Steve Newhouse, bringing the Polar Express into the village of Montgomery with Thomas the Tank Engine. Now, I've known Steve since he's 19 years old. He was the deputy manager of the city of Newburgh. He's a good guy. When he gets himself set on something, he goes. So we're at a meeting maybe just under 2 months ago with all county officials, the owner of the Polar Express and Thomas the Tank Engine event up in Kingston. They were very much for this in the village here, very much. The tracks are now passenger tracks. They were only freight tracks up until a couple of years ago because there was a gully down by Skip's place and they weren't allowed passenger trains here. So they fixed it, and now passenger trains can come through at 12 miles an hour. Bottom line is we can now have passenger trains come into this village, go to Walden. What they're deciding now is where to put the cars. Where would they put the cars? Would they put them in Campbell Hall, where the caboose sat for about a month and a half, 2 months? And you always got to worry about graffiti. You always got to worry about that stuff. These Thomas the Tank Engines and Polar Express, they cost a lot of money. But the bottom line, it puts the village of Montgomery on the map. It'll also go to other places too. Campbell Hall, Sugarloaf, the whole line there. This is all cooperation. We had about 20 officials from the county, and we were sitting there, and Steve says, we're going to get this. So that'll be really nice, the village of Montgomery. Marin Court. This is going on here for having a road come through Marin Court. Didn't really, they discussed it under the last mayor. It was discussed. I didn't, all right, whatever you need to have. Well, now it's become a safety issue. My boss, the building inspector, because he is the boss, he's in charge of that, Department of Public Works superintendent, they said they need it. They needed to go through. You need it to go through. That's blacktop. That's going to cost money. Well, some of the people over there already ride through and use this as a roadway anyhow. Okay, they tell me to do it. We can't afford blacktop. Put down item 4, whatever. You need it because of now pickleball, the teen center, everything here. You only have one way in, one way out. Fire department, if God forbid something happens, have an entrance and an exit way. This isn't Highway 12 in the Outer Banks where there's only one way in and one way out. If God forbid something happens, we got to take action. So if they want it, do it. It's a safety issue. Right back to the fire hydrants. New York Forward Grant. I had a meeting about 3 weeks ago with Sue from Albany. She's on top of this. This is gonna be awesome. This is really going to be cool. We're gonna have the tower lit down here, the Village of Montgomery Tower. That's gonna be lit. Now we were in Conway, South Carolina, for their Halloween festival last week. Their tower's lit. And if anybody wants to see it, I have it on my phone. It's beautiful. It doesn't cost that much money, and it puts us on the map. I remember when I used to fly out of Stewart for work, I would always see the bridge light up, and I can see where the village was. That tower can be seen from all over. Sue's bus route used to be up there on the hill by the Red Barn, and you could see the tower with no problem. I've been up at Mohawk Mountain, and you could see the tower from there. So that should be nice, lit up. Old-fashioned Christmas, that's going. Tracy Casey's doing it with Lori Dahl, the old-fashioned Christmas. Again, memories that our families are growing up with. Now I have 5 grandkids in the village. I want them to grow up with us. Holiday Tractor Parade, that's going. That's done by Tracy and Lori with Randy Wilbur and Kevin Canero. If anybody remembers it from last year, it were all tractors, just like the tractor parade, only at nighttime with lights all over them. They looked beautiful. Listen, I want to come out and tell you this. My job is not to look out for everybody. I'll help everybody. I'll do whatever I can. That's what I did for a living. My allegiance is to the village of Montgomery. That's it in a nutshell. Village of Montgomery is my allegiance. One other thing, we got to get these village employees' salaries up. Now that might say, oh my God, you're not going to get votes and all that. We need to acknowledge the village of Montgomery's employees here have a lower salary than the average person. And I don't want talented people leaving here. I already have 2 letters of reference I've written for employees here. I don't want them leaving. In closing, I remind folks that in my absence, the Deputy Mayor, Darlene Andolsek, is the mayor. Please give her the respect she deserves. Thank you. I got some more stuff to go on, too. I hope both sides are clapping because I'm not here to pick sides. I'm here to make the village continue. We don't have to make the village of Montgomery great again. It already is. We just want to keep it that way. I want to touch on a thing here I've been discussing, I've been going over. You know, boards, they get along, they don't get along, they're politicians. They're politicians, okay? Pretty much won a popularity contest. That's what it is. Politicians. Politics sucks, okay? This village has a $7 million budget. $7 million budget. I think when a politician shakes your hand, they might wind up, and I'm not saying it happens, but they might wind up giving something important up just to get your vote. And that's not good. Communities change because of that, because they're politicians, because they want to win you over. Okay? My idea here is we need to explore for a village manager. We need to explore a village manager. A village manager who knows how to run a budget. A village manager who, with a contract, doesn't care what you say, Mrs. or Mrs. Trustee. That's great. I'll compare it to a household. Before you get the big screen TV, you better make sure your tires and brakes are good. That's what a village manager does. Village manager makes sure before we have frills, our streets are paved, our sidewalks are completed, our equipment is functioning, our grants are explored, employee salaries are competitive so we do not lose their talents and contracts are kept up to speed. The way politics works is I'll do what I can do to get your votes and sacrifice needed services. A village manager with a contract listens to the mayor and the board, but in the end does what's right for the business and the municipalities. Bringing this close to home, like I said, comparing the big screen TV set with your furnace or the needs that you in the house. What would even be better is if we had a village manager who was an attorney. Now, I understand that adding a new position like this costs money, but the question we should be asking is, what's the cost of not doing it? What's the cost of not doing it? Missing grants, inefficiency, delayed projects, staff turnover? Those things cost money too. And in many cases, it's far more than the salary of a professional who keeps things organized and running smoothly. At present, our legal services for this village cost sometimes $12,000 a month. $12,000 a month. for legal services. Not always, but it heads up there. Not to mention engineers, accounting firms, and the list goes on and on. Insane. Now we had an attorney who represented the village and the town. He represented the village and the town. So he drew up a contract for the village sewer system, but then we had to hire another attorney to defend us on the sewer system. So think about it. The attorney out in the town wants to merge with the village sewer system, which he's the attorney in the village, but we have to hire another attorney to defend us against the attorney in the town, who's our village attorney. You get what I'm talking about here? You understand what I'm talking? We need to, you don't? Okay, well, we need to have our own representative here, an attorney who's just concerned with our needs, an attorney, a village manager. And here's the key point. Hiring a manager doesn't take power away from the people, it empowers the people. Because when the village runs efficiently, when communication is clear, when decisions are based on good information, everyone benefits. The village manager has worked in countless small communities like ours, places that wanted to modernize their operation while staying true to the small village like Montgomery. At the end of the day, this isn't about changing who we are, it's about protecting what we have. Our charm, our sense of community, our quality of life, making sure our local government has the tools to serve us well. A village manager will pull all those loose strings in and put the interest of the village residents first, not politics. Just like I created a full-time police chief, I think we need a full-time manager. I believe we need to explore this option. Now I want to touch on a couple of questions that people have asked me. Some of them have already been answered, but I want to touch on a couple of questions. What is your most important concern for this village, people ask me. Very simple. When you do 42 years in law enforcement, the number one concern is safety. Police, fire, ambulance. Police, fire, ambulance. I voted the first one to vote to make sure we had a town-wide ambulance service, a professional ambulance service. My comment said, I don't want an ambulance showing up in front of my house with a flat tire and a smoky radiator. I want the best. The safety of its residents. That's what government's number one business is. Safety of its residents. When you lock your door at night, you want to make sure that this government is keeping you as safe as possible. When will Union Street be blacktopped? I don't know, but we're sure trying. We're sure trying. What is the situation with our sewer plant? I'm not allowing anybody in there. Something like that should be decided by more than 5 people on a board. It should be decided by village residents with one attorney. Meeting with the mayor in the village of Monroe. I had breakfast with him not that long ago. Told me about the situation with their sewer plant. They have a centralized sewer plant. Without going into gross stuff, when it gets cold, things flow slow in the street, smell comes up. He goes, you don't want to do it. I met a guy, because I talked to everybody, met a guy, a councilman from Burnside, Kentucky. Councilman, same thing with the sewer system. He goes, started with this flow in the wintertime. However, he says, we don't have it as cold down there. He says, you want to keep your own sewer plant. I do, but I want to do it with the direction of the village residents. Okay, what's the other thing? When is the sidewalk going to be completed on Boyd Street? I don't know. I'm hoping soon. Another thing people are asking is, how did that monstrosity get developed by ShopRite? I don't know, and I don't think anybody else can happen. It happened without us knowing it. But I do know this. We explored into this. Mark, I'll let you speak. Please have respect. How did that development get explored by get put by ShopRite? I don't know. But it went up. There was a bunch of different ideas. I do know this. We went back in the records. And they have some sort of contract or something where they were going to hook into Vistamore, which Vistamore has a contract before I was on the board to hook up to our sewer plant. Why are the mail carriers not based out of Montgomery anymore? Again, these are questions I'm being asked. It's supposedly efficiency. We still have the same mail carrier we have, Jen. She's fantastic. How can I get involved with the Volunteer Events Committee? Tracy Casey and Lori Dahl. They're taking applications. The pay stinks, but they're taking applications every day. Why are the pickleball courts closed at opened at 10 a.m.? Because that was the happy medium. That was the happy medium. Agree with the people on Bridge Street, Bachelor. Those are open all the time. Those are open all the time. Why is the caboose down at the park and not at the entranceway on 17K? Well, we did the right thing. We called 811. And when Central Hudson came along, they said, there's a main gas line going through there. You can't do it. Thank God we didn't do it. And then with the culvert being replaced. So it was put down here. And the New York Forward, they got plans for it. Tracy Casey's got plans for it. She's got the blueprints coming along for it. Then they're going to make it back to what it was, the 1941 Erie caboose. My relatives are coming to visit. Can I bring them down to the senior center to participate? Absolutely. One of the village residents says, absolutely they can. As a matter of fact, if you let us know ahead of time, I'll have Joanne Corrigan, our director down there, roll out the red carpet for them and welcome them into the village of Montgomery. What is happening with the fire hydrants? Like I explained before, 12 of them are fixed. We're waiting for the other 3 to be repaired. Why don't you have more questions and answers at about these meetings? I will. Let's see how this one turns out. I will. And are we going to pierce the tax cap this year? Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes, we are, because we got to catch up with the inflation and fixing all the stuff here that's always been held down. When the inflation was going up, we held things down. No, we will pierce it. The whole idea is to not pierce it that hard. When we started out with the budget this year, it was 28%. We got it down to a little over 11. A little over 11. And somebody said, why don't you participate in social media? Well, I think I answered that. So that's it. That's it. That's what I got from speaking with a lot of people, a lot of towns, village people, where I went to do business. An informal meeting. We don't need problems here. We don't need you screaming. We don't need yelling. And I'll do these again. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. Just like any kind of question, right? Not just about the...
One I can answer. Now, I have hearing aids, too, so if you could stand up and speak louder, please.
Sure. Rita Stanfield over...
You don't have to give your name, address, or anything. It's an informal meeting.
Okay. I'm just so interested about the about Marin Court and the easement. The Marin, extending Marin Court, and I'm wondering why you chose that instead of the one that was, the 70-foot easement that is behind Spicata's house, which is actually supposed to be the second egress. So I'm wondering, why did you choose Marin Court? It goes right through the Little League fields rather than one that was designated for it. So, and that one, by the way, I have to tell you, Marin Court is 50 feet wide, and the easement that was made for the second egress is 70 feet wide.
I didn't choose anything. The Department of Public Works chose that, well, along with the building inspector. So you can consult with them on that. I followed their direction. Why would
the DPW override the original intent of the easement?
You'd have to speak with him on that. You'd have to speak with him on that. Speak with him. You live.
Well, you're the mayor.
I know I'm the mayor, and I get direction by people who know more than I do.
That it would be Marin Court?
Yeah, that's how long ago it is.
I don't think so. I think this idea that...
Well, I think what you should do is give him a call tomorrow. He's in at 7 o'clock in the morning. Call him up.
And I can ask Jake, I'll say to Jake, hey, why did you choose that instead of that?
I would talk with Jake and the building inspector. Sure.
Okay.
Next, please. Yes.
I just was concerned when I heard about this open discussion that I called the village office and I said, is there any way that we can submit questions and ahead of time, or how is this going to be handled? And nobody really could tell me. And you know, I think in future events it would be helpful for you if you had an opportunity to get questions from different people and categorize them as to the concerns, rather than, you know, just you talking and giving us the questions that maybe you've heard from the people. But in addition, some handwritten questions that we could all participate in.
My first shot.
I know, I'm just telling you.
Just trying.
So much.
First shot.
The other question I have is your discussion about different sources of change that you wish to project onto the next couple of years. And I just want to know what the plan is. I mean, is there a village-wide plan for the town, for the village? Be it sewer, be it roads, be it the easement. Where is that documented as having been discussed and the vote has been made? I don't understand. All of a sudden, you're seeing those trees knocked down. When was that discussed? Where is the documentation? Where can I see the minutes? And in addition to that, I think it would be helpful for minutes to be published and on the website so people could refer back to information that's been discussed.
All right, I'll mention that to the village hall tomorrow.
Well, they're not, no. No.
Okay.
So I'd like the data for the easement. I'd like the data for why you need a manager.
You mean you want to FOIL them?
No. I just want to know how do you make a decision? I said this last time. What's the data? What's the plan? And do we agree on it?
You mean for the Marin Court?
That's an example.
Well,
all of a sudden trees are knocked down. And it was really upsetting because it was a nice area. It was nice and all the kids could play.
Mm-hmm.
A car's going to go and someone's going to hit a ball and the car's going to get smashed.
Okay. I'll check.
All right, so you got my list. Did you write it down?
I have it. I remember. Yes.
I have a question on the village manager thing. Will this be put to a vote for the village, whether we want a manager?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's my whole message. Things happen with 5 people on a board, and it should be village residents should decide these things.
Yeah, but there's been many decisions that have been made that the village wasn't a part of.
I'm sorry.
There have been many decisions made that the village hasn't been a part of.
Correct.
We've made a decision.
Give me an example, please.
Senior center,
The senior center.
changing,
Well,
that was your decision.
we're not going to get in. We're not going to get into that. However, what happened was there was a contract that wasn't renewed for 12 years. Now, if you had a village manager, he would make sure these contracts are taken care of. Okay? The contract, I'm not going to get into this. I am not. This is going to be a
Get into it when you don't want to answer some questions.
No, because I'm not going to get into this, because this is going to get into that. Right now, we have a village senior center run by an excellent director. And everybody's welcome to go there. The advisory board was hired. The contract wasn't renewed. It hadn't been renewed for 12 years. It was not renewed for 12 years. Nobody was evicted. That's the thing that people are saying. Nobody was evicted. The contract wasn't renewed. I'm not going to go further into this because this is not just going to be a one-topic thing. So continue, please. Next question. I'm not going to do the senior center. Please move on.
There are plenty of topics here that we can cover, and I have them all written down here. But as long as we're on this subject, why don't you explain why you didn't renew the senior center's contract, and you did renew it for the library, and you did renew it for the...
Ms. Santo, what I would suggest is if you're not happy with what the Village Senior Center has to offer, you go to your municipality, which is the town, and see if they could build something like that for you. This is the Village of Montgomery Senior Center. It's paid for by the Village of Montgomery. And that's that. If you're not happy with what we have to offer here, you can go somewhere else. You're welcome to go there. That's it. So please move on. I'm not getting into the senior center anymore. I'm not going to do it. Next question?
Okay, what's our?
Yes.
What's the Weaver Street project? I don't know what that is.
Mary, the Weaver Street project is 33 acres of property over there. 11 are developable. They can be developed. What happens is,
Sorry.
you all right, Bob?
No, no.
He's not all right.
There's no light.
Bob, you need any help?
11 of those acres can be developed. They were zoned industrial. Then there was a guy there who owned it. His name was Alden Link. He came down with his son, and his son said something like he had a secret buyer from Sullivan County who was going to purchase it if we made it residential. If we made it residential, he had a good buyer there, but he wouldn't tell us the name. So I made kind of like a smart-ass comment like, oh, sure, and I'll gladly pay you Wednesday for a hamburger today. I said, are you kidding me? You're an investment broker. You think that I'm going to go ahead and turn that into residential and you're going to come in? So then there were comments made, why don't we just give it to the village? Well, somebody else, whatever it is, it changed hands numerous times. Now it's industrial, but there's so many different things they want to put on there. They want to put warehouses. They wanted to put, like I checked into it, I found out that if they change it to residential, they were going to put 185 apartments down towards the bottom of Weaver Street. So I made a comment. Then they wanted to go half, make half residential, half industrial. Yeah, okay, who wins out? Who wins out on this thing? If you do residential, if you go residential, you get whatever comes along, whatever they say. You could have raised ranches, you could have affordable housing, you could have workforce housing, you could have apartments, whatever goes in there, goes in there. If you go industrial, you could have warehouses, you could have this, you could have that. These are all different things that come along. So they pretty much stuck with industrial. Now 11 acres, we don't know what's going to happen with it. But I don't like the fact that somebody else who lives somewhere else, so much different secrecy, and it cost us a fortune, we still are at the same spot we were 15 years ago. So the Weaver Street property there could definitely change this village. It definitely could change that. And my thing was, let's get a hold of it. Let we, the people, decide. That's it? Did that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Mark, you were next.
All right, on KSH.
You got to speak louder,
First of
Mark.
all, I like the idea that you're going to buy the land. I think you should keep it, get in touch with grants and get in touch with Orange County Land Trust, keep it open. Because if you get into this, we're going to buy, you're going to become a developer. So the other thing too is you just said that if it becomes residential, you don't know what's going to be built there. Well, isn't that what the trustees do? They set up zones and they determine what can go and what can't go. So like, I don't understand it, how you can say that you don't know what's going to go in there. The trustees, when you have a comprehensive plan and you make the zone, don't the trustees decide what goes in there and make the regulations on what goes in there? So you know, like every property has to have an acre, whatever. So it just, that doesn't make sense to me that you just say, well, if it's residential, they can put in this and that and this and that. It's like, no, the village determines its future by the zoning. So that didn't make any sense to me.
Well, Mark, it's not the trustees, it's the planning board. And I
No,
would
the trustees make the planning board just follows what the zoning.
understood, but the
trustees
planning board
determine
would
the
guide us, and we wouldn't go against them if they had good
Why?
ideas. Mark, that's been like that for over 15 years. So I would agree with you if it was only 2 or 3 years old. We're spinning our wheels
When I
here.
went to the planning board meeting, they told me, we just follow what the zones are. Trustees make up the zones. Now you're saying just the opposite. No, so, Bob, you're planning board, who makes up the laws?
No, it's whatever the land is designated to be used for, that's what it can be used for.
Correct.
We as a planning board can't tell them that they can't use it for If it's zone residential, it's residential. It's zone commercial,
I
it's
think
commercial.
you guys are missing my point here. I think you guys are missing my point. I know we're the final say on this, and it's backwards because most communities are the other way. Most communities the other way, where the planning board is the decider.
I've never heard that.
It is. The other communities are where the planning board has the final say. However, all these are,
Based on the laws that are passed by trustees.
Mark, the bottom line is, I think the village residents should, all these were suggestions. They're just
I
suggestions.
know, but I'm just making comments on your suggestions.
Okay.
That's all, and I'm not angry, I'm just making comments. The sidewalk, you keep talking about the Boyd Street, the connection between Lakeside and the post office. I've lived on Tompkins Road for 32 years. I'd like to see a sidewalk between Boyd Street and 17K, okay? I'm tired of hearing about the Boyd Street missing its little section. You have at least 3/4 of the sidewalk. You can get there and you have to make a quick job. Anyone who lives on Tompkins Road has no sidewalk. We have to go on a narrow part of Goodwill because it narrows down by 17K. People don't slow down. It's dangerous. I know when I go into the village, it's dangerous in that part. It would be nice if we looked at that.
Mark, I agree with you. I got the stop signs put down there on Tompkins. I had those stop signs. I agree with you. We got to start somewhere.
Not that.
Mhm.
The other thing is on what you mentioned about the lawyers, the same for the village and the town. Well, if there's a problem, then can't you just hire a different lawyer for the village? I mean, that seems to be.
We did do that. It costs money, Mark. Do you really think that the village lawyer should work for the town?
No,
Do you-
but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying if there's a problem between a conflict of interest between the town and the village because you have the same lawyer, then the trustees say, go get another lawyer.
It's-
Instead of,
Mark, it's done. He's resigned.
Okay, but that's an easy, that's the solution that.
It's happening, Mark. You got to give me some time. You got to give me some time.
Also, honestly, I'm concerned that you're missing 3 meetings. I think that's a little excessive.
Did I explain to you why?
It doesn't make a difference why, unless you're sick and you're in the hospital. If it's for business reasons, that's personal. That's your business reasons. If you take on the responsibility of being elected the mayor of the village, you should attend the meetings. And I can see if you're on vacation. I can see if it's an emergency, family emergency. That's one thing. Vacation, of course, you may miss a meeting, and maybe 1 or 2, but 3. That to me is getting excessive.
Mark, I attend about 30 meetings a year. I missed 3.
Okay, well, that's.
I missed 3 meetings, Mark.
We'll have to make a comment.
If the workforce was like that, do you know how a workforce would be? I missed 3 meetings. And the reason other mayors or past trustees didn't miss it because they were arranged differently. We had a meeting we changed meetings for other trustees to attend things. Otherwise they would have missed meetings too. This is done. I can't make it. I wasn't afforded that opportunity.
Well, that's a shame that they don't, the trustees and mayors.
It is a shame, Mark.
Because if they did work together, we wouldn't have this issue.
Exactly. So 3 out of 30 is not a bad deal.
What's that? Well, I still think it's excessive, but it's a shame that it's so toxic in this village that the trustees and the mayor can't work together to work out a schedule. That's
Well,
the case.
okay.
That's terrible. And then, how do you determine that you made a comment, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I just took it wrong, but you determined that the trustees are politicians and they're not. How do you determine that?
How do I determine what?
That the trustees are politicians and you're not. Like, honestly, I don't see any trustee up there who's a politician. Darlene is been there a long time, and I don't think she's a politician. Stephen Brianni just got on board, and I don't think he's a politician. I don't think Cynthia's a politician. They all have day jobs and they do the same thing. And Randy as well. I don't see anyone up there who's a politician. I think they're in the same position you are. They have other careers, they have other lives, they do other things, and they're giving their time or whatever and to be on board and try to better the village. So it's like, I'm not a politician, but they are.
Mark, did I say that?
Yeah.
What did I say?
You said, I mean, that's what I took it as. I don't know if
I said I'm not a politician.
What's that?
I said I'm not a politician.
No, you inferred that they were.
I did not infer that they were. I just said I'm not a politician.
I heard wrong. I
You did?
apologize. And then the other thing too, the village manager, there's pros and cons to that. It's not necessarily, I don't know if that's necessarily the right way to go. I think if you're gonna do it, you really need to look into it. and present the pros and cons to the public, and then let us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
What, I was at the last board meeting, and the agenda said that the schedule changed from Tuesday's meeting because of Election Day was supposed to be moved to today. But then they decided, in your absence, to move it to Wednesday.
Did you hear this, Mark? Are you listening?
Was that, yes, I was
The
there.
reason they said they wanted to move it to Wednesday was because they wanted to have it at the senior center. This could have been the village board meeting right here tonight had they made the decision to keep it Monday when everyone could attend.
Thank you. Next. Yes, Tracy?
So I think, my opinion, and I never give my opinion, is that you should not look into a manager, you guys should look into a mediator. This board, it doesn't matter who's at the meeting, you all dislike each other. One meeting to the next, and it's ridiculous. You guys all get paid, right? You get paid. If you had a real job, if this was a real job, you'd all be fired. And that's my opinion.
Well, if this was a real job, they would respect the mayor and the ranking from that. That's what happens
If it was
here.
a real job, then HR would handle it.
Yeah, yeah. And, just a little aside here. I don't do this for the money at all. I don't do this for the money at all. It pays $20,000 a year. The Village of Monroe mayor does the same job part-time. He makes $84,000 a year. So I don't do it for the money.
I understand.
Yeah, and I know that. My suggestion for the village manager was not so much of personalities, but taking part-time positions and having a full-timer run this $7 million budget, making sure, at part-time, you can't stay on top of everything. A contract would not have been expired 12 years. There would be grants done. You'd have things on top. There'd be somebody who does this for a living instead of just paying money to attorneys and engineers. And none of us up here are qualified for that, to stay on top of that. We're not. And we could easily be raked across the coals by not knowing what we're doing, by somebody who just wants to keep the meter running in the taxi cab and just keep draining us. And that's what I agree. I still believe that's what's happening in Weaver Street. Yes, next. You next. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mike. First of all, I definitely agree that we need a mediator. But also, months ago you mentioned, and you were upset about it actually, that you had to appear before the ethics board.
Yep.
And I haven't heard boo about that since. I don't know why you had to. I don't know what was being investigated. So some of us would like to know some answers to that.
We're not going to bring it up. Can't bring it up. It's something that cannot be discussed in the public.
So the public will never.
I don't know if they will or they won't, but that's not going to be a subject for tonight.
I'm sorry, the 20th, I hear you. So there's no way for the public to ever have those.
I don't know if they will or they won't. Let's see, I can tell you, I don't even know if I should go into this, but I can tell you this. If you sit down and say it. One thing that I did, and I need to apologize for it, there's two things I'm happy on. Two things I'm happy for. One thing I'm happy, I said to Trustee Piccarella, I never know what Randy I'm dealing with. It's like 50 first dates. And I apologize for that. I apologize for saying that. I apologize for saying that. Okay, well, I apologize for saying that. You asked what the outcome was. The second thing, well, I apologize for that. Well, this is why I didn't want to bring this up. Okay, so let's move on. Next one. Yes. He's next.
Thank you. Walter Hookie, 99 Union Street. That's what I always do. Good question. So, if you chose to ignore the will of the board's decision for the sewage and the water thing, how can we trust that you won't just willy-nilly, for lack of a better word, decide that you want to ignore the will of the board for whatever you want?
Very simple, because the sewer plant should have been decided by the people. It was too big for us.
That's your opinion.
I'm sorry, Bob?
That's your opinion.
My opinion as a village resident.
Trust that the board voted on something, that you as one member of that board have to follow it just like everyone has to follow the decision of the board's election.
Correct. Now, you can hear me out?
Go.
Prior to, and I think it's common knowledge, prior to being put on the board, 2 trustees and a present trustee went out to the supervisor of the town of Montgomery and negotiated a deal with the sewer plant. You think that's on the up and up? Then came up.
That's allowed to happen. Next.
Okay. Well, that's good for you. Well, that's good for you then. Then we go from there. Then it's pushed in front of me. Okay? It's pushed in front of me to have this allowed. No, I'm not doing it. And I'm standing on my own 2 feet on this. So we have a difference of opinion on that. I'm not opening it up. I'm not opening it up. There's more stuff going on this, so I'm just leaving it.
So are you going to do whatever you want and ignore the will of the board on any other thing, or just that one thing ever?
Well, if that was brought in front of the people, if the people decided that, then I would go with the will of the people. Just the fact that it was a shady deal, made me say it should be in front of the will of the people. Before something like that happens, the place should have been loaded with village residents with their opinions. Not something major like that with 3 trustees behind the scene. There you go. So we can always disagree on that.
Two more questions, quick. These are quick. When we begin to enforce the rules of decorum that the board passed by majority that we witnessed several meetings ago, and when people were running the meeting, people were screaming, and Will was trying hard when the deputy mayor couldn't handle it. Will was trying to handle it, and people were screaming over him, saying, "You work for me," and no one on that board was enforcing the rules of decorum that whole board voted on.
Walt, I'm here today, standing in front of you, trying to calm this down. I'm answering questions here. Okay? I'm answering questions here. I'm doing my best. Okay? I'm up here by myself, no board, answering questions.
Okay, that didn't answer my questions. I'm talking about at the meetings, but we can think about that. This is nothing against the Touch a Truck event. I heard it was amazing, but did you know that there was people who had a hard time voting because of all the traffic at that event?
Had a hard time voting?
Yes, they had.
My thing on this is, why is the village of Montgomery always the host of voting?
That's not my question.
My question is, why?
Did you know about it, though? That's
No.
for the future. That decision is for the future. If you don't want to have voting at the senior center, the board can vote on that.
So what is your point? They had to, what was the problem? What did they have to do? What was
They
their?
have to walk far, and my concern is, could somebody be so frustrated that they would not vote? So all I'm saying is, nothing against any event, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, but the village as a whole, whether it be the police or the planning or anyone, should consider having events or not having events during early voting. Just a point to consider in the future.
Okay, well taken.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. No, you were next. Whoever wants to go, get up and go.
Okay, just a comment with respect to the ethics complaint or complaints. Correct me if I'm wrong. To my knowledge, those investigations become public and are typically disclosed after a final decision is made or a settlement is reached and the investigative process is complete. Is that not true?
No, it's not.
What is true?
I'm not going into this. I'm not going into this. We're not going here on this. We're going to move on from this.
Second question, and I will move on. At the last board meeting, the board voted unanimously, 4-0, to initiate an investigation regarding the release of what was termed confidential information. You were absent from that meeting. I have 2 questions. First, what is your view of the seriousness of a potential breach of confidential information under your administration?
There is no confidential information on an email. There is no confidential
I'm not sure
information.
what you're talking about. I'm talking about the release of confidential information. Nobody was told what that confidential information was.
So why would you know
I'm
about
asking
it?
you, what do you view as the seriousness of a potential breach of confidential information?
I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to answer that.
Okay, assuming you have been briefed regarding the investigation, what would your vote have been? Had you been present at the meeting, in favor of the motion or opposed to the motion?
I'm not answering that. I'm not answering that.
Thanks for the answer. Silence speaks volumes.
Mr. Flood,
Yes,
you're a town resident.
absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to note that. My allegiance is to the village of Montgomery. Move on, please. Next. Miss-
I read the email, okay? And nowhere on Randy Carabella's email did the word private or confidential appear. Now, I have to slow you down? Now, last Friday, Halloween, I got a knock on my door. It was the state trooper, and he wasn't trick-or-treating. He said, I'm doing an investigation. And I said, well, don't see out in the cold, come on in. I drove him right upstairs into my living room, okay? And he wanted to know that the complainant, trustee Cynthia Nolan, wants to know where I got confidential information. He said,
Please.
okay, I'm out.
Questions to the mayor?
Okay,
Please keep it civil. Mr. Tom Steed speaking.
okay, I won't mention any name. No name.
None of us need that.
Trooper Gregory Candela, he's a public servant. I can mention his name. Okay? You know, he told me unless somebody's computer was hacked, no crime was committed. Okay? And, you know, I'm going to leave it at that. But I openly read emails. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not covert. I'm not clandestine. I'm not sneaking around the village's back door to make deals with the town. I'm not betraying my village. I'm talking the truth.
Next. No, give other people time.
Brian Warren. And just a couple questions. The courts by senior center are being closed as of November 1st.
Are they? I'm not sure.
Yeah, somebody
Okay.
closed them. I don't know why, but I do lessons there for the people, and they want to know why they're being closed. I mean, we're only going to be out there probably until the second week of December. So I don't know what the big deal of not opening them at 10 o'clock. So I'd like to know if we could get that changed. And the other thing.
Why can't you do that?
Well, I don't want to bother those people down here. I don't want to interfere with the public, you know. But I mean, I guess I can do that. I'll take that advice.
You got sent a letter that I was against. I did not want to do that. You got sent a letter to cease and desist. Well, I'm going to straighten it
That
out.
doesn't bother me.
It does, because I was going to tell you, when the attorney said he needs to get a letter to cease and desist, and I said, I want to go over and tell him. And that was wrong. I mean, what you were doing wasn't...
I'm not complaining.
Well, I'm just saying that cost money. That cost money to send that. That cost money. And I learned. I shouldn't have done that because that cost the village taxpayer money. Or I could have went over and said, you can't do that.
Okay, and the other thing is, I would really like to give you some advice.
Go ahead.
You and the board. When you send emails, the only thing you should be sending is, call me. You should not be putting anything in writing, in any email. Okay, I dealt with this because I dealt with you.
I agree with you 100%.
Just, if you want to talk, say something to somebody, just send an email that says, call me. And this way you never have these problems with emails and people looking at your emails.
I'll give you a little bit of... I agree with you. I sent that an email. There was some nasty stuff that came over social media that was forwarded to me by the attorney. And I ripped back. I said, do not send this to me. I don't agree with this. If you don't like the channel, change it. Don't send me this stuff. He wrote, understood. Then another trustee came in there, ripped into me, what's going on here? I said, I do not do social media. I do sticky notes. You call up, I call you on the phone. It's not 5 boroughs. I'll call you, and I do it all the time down here. Well, I got an earful about I need to get into modernization. I need to know how to use computers. I know how to use computers.
I agree with you. I don't go on Facebook. I wouldn't go near any of that stuff.
Nothing.
And I kind of respect you for that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I would tell your whole staff, you want to talk to me, and if you put anything in an email, call me.
Yeah. I don't do it. So, all right, next. We're going to wrap it up pretty soon because I got 5 kids staying over tonight because they have no school tomorrow, and we're having a sleepover. So, you've already asked a couple questions. I need to move on to the next one. Yes, please.
I just want to know, where's the tower?
Where's the what?
Where's the tower?
What tower? Oh, the old lumber yard. The Village of Montgomery lumber yard. The tower that says Village of Montgomery. The water tower. That tower. Bob, you want to speak?
I have a bunch of things, Mike, but I'll try to keep them real quick and fast. KSH, you talked about that. Obviously, that was zoned what it was zoned. It could have been apartment houses. Walt Lindner is the one that brought that up at a planning board meeting before I was on a planning board, and the public was all aware of that. So there's pros and cons for that whole thing. You know what? If you can buy that property, that's great, but that would raise taxes a lot. The fire hydrants, obviously near and dear to me. There's a few left that need to be repaired. I know that there was no money in the thing. It was never explained to the residents about why we couldn't borrow the money. I know you have fund balance and you can't take it out of there. You thought you could, but if we could borrow the money and then we could pay it back next year. I don't know why we can't do that.
Neither do I.
Well,
I voted to do it.
That's what you need to find out. You're the mayor, you need to find it out. But I appreciate all that you did to solve what we did have. I mean, that was an ongoing thing. There was no reason for that to go that way. No reason at all. You talk about welcoming new residents. I know you do that at a lot of meetings, and it's really great that you welcome people and everything. But how about we ask the people that are leaving why they're leaving? Those houses didn't just come available. Somebody left.
I have asked people. They're leaving because of the state of New York, not because of the Village of Montgomery.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it could be. We should be able to try to get an exit plan of people that are leaving, if they have problems with our village, and what we can do to make it better.
I have asked several people. They're all moving down to South Carolina, Tennessee, because of the state.
I understand.
Yeah.
Public comment at meetings. People come and they talk about issues. I have done it a few times. I haven't done it for years. I just started recently doing it and voicing my concerns, like about the Girl Scout thing here that looks dilapidated and everything. It just sits there. About the gym equipment, the stop signs, and we never get answers on what we bring up. You talk for 3 minutes and you're cut off, and that's it. Nobody acknowledges what you said. Nobody follows up. It should come on to an old business thing, the next meeting, to where you can answer those questions.
That's what I have tonight.
Great idea. This is fantastic. This is really good. Whether people like you or don't like you, that's another whole thing. But I think it's great that we can have a back and forth conversation. We're having the meetings at the senior center. What is that doing to solve the problem? That's kicking a can down the road. The problem is that Village Hall is not big enough to do things. There needs to be an addition put on the Village Hall. There needs to be parking fixed in the village. 2 big infrastructure things that need to be dealt with. And it's been done for years. I'm not blaming you, but I remember that years ago there was talk about an elevator in the Village Hall, and it was going to cost $80,000. We didn't have the money. Here we are now. Come on. The town hall has a beautiful town hall over there. Every other village that I know of, their meetings are held in their Village Hall, and that's where it should be held.
In the Village Hall?
In the Village Hall. That's where a village meeting should be in a Village Hall.
And
that's the place to make that the Village Hall, and let the seniors go up to the old thing.
The reason I'm keeping it half and half is because there's a lot of people who don't want to give up Village Hall. So I got to split the baby here. I get people who come to these meetings, they should be down there. They want them at Senior Center. I hear other people, they should be at Village Hall. What do you do?
Yeah. You know what you do? Here's what you do. You put an east wing. Like Walt was talking, you're the mayor. Just put an east wing on there and be done with it. Just a joke. Just a joke.
Yeah. Okay, sure. All right, one more.
A couple more quick things. The village events that Tracy does, I've seen her come to meetings and ask for things, and again, gets put off. There needs to be some kind of thing because, you're giving it to her to use. And yet I see other things, events go on with the pickleball courts, with cancer things, all good things, and they're allowed to happen without any fees and everything. And I know it was discussed at a couple of meetings ago, but it does seem very personal sometimes on some of the things that are not allowed versus some of the things that are allowed.
And she has to, so many speed bumps she's got to go over to get anything done.
Yeah. And I'll keep this as my last one. And it's been talked about by a few people here. The dysfunction of the village board. You people hate each other. Not just dislike, you hate each other. And it's disgusting. I said that at the meeting. I said the word disgusting numerous times. All right? Maybe go to the state and get a mediator to come in. Maybe have somebody sit down for the village that you all trust and you can sit down and discuss things. That's how you solve problems, to sit at a table and disagree, but at least come to some kind of answer on it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have a couple of comments. I think part of what happens is a lot of people think they know something is true, or suppose something is true, and it's not true, but they act on what they think rather than what is actually true. For example, about the village board voting on something and you not going with it. I don't think people understand that you might be an equal vote on the board as mayor, and actually you don't even have to vote unless it's a tie. The mayor doesn't have to vote unless it's to break the tie, then they have to vote. Otherwise it's optional. But a majority of the board doesn't dictate everything. There are certain things that are powers of the executive, such as controlling an employee, or supervising an employee, or commanding an employee, or giving instruction, that the board can't vote to do. It's that simple. And the example I use is, if the president nominates someone for Supreme Court, they go in front of this judiciary board or whatever it's called, and those people decide yes or no. And if they decide no, they don't get to pick the person they want, because that power belongs to the executive. Just like hiring an employee at the village. I said this at one of the meetings. If the village mayor hires an employee, the board has to say yes or no. But the board can't say, we say no to Mrs. Jones, but we're ordering you to hire Mrs. Smith. It doesn't work that way. So the majority of the board doesn't necessarily dictate what happens. They can only vote on matters that are within the purview of the board. Some things are powers of the mayor legislated by the New York State Legislature. You can find it in Section 400 of the New York State Village Law. And I've handed it to the board a couple of times. The problem is, some people don't want to accept the limits of their authorities or powers. And when people think that, well, if 3 of them said yes or 4 of them said yes, then why isn't it so? It's because they might not have the authority to make it so. It doesn't matter what they vote. They can't vote to make bazookas legal in the village of Montgomery, for example, if they vote 4-0 or 5-0 or 3-2, because bazookas are illegal. It doesn't matter if the board says yes. It's not within the power of the board to decide if bazookas are legal or not. It's not in the board's power to decide whether the mayor hires someone or not. It's not in the board's power to vote to tell the mayor to do something when it's his power and his executive authority to do so. And I think there's a mentality that because the majority said so, therefore it is. Or because the trustee said so, therefore it is. And that's not the case. And the minute people start, in the public and the board, understanding and accepting what it is to be a public servant, and what it is to be a member of the public, and what it is to be an executive, then maybe there won't be so much incompatibility. As an example, I said this once before, the public is guided by what you, for the public laws, your behavior is governed by what you're not allowed to do. So the law says, the law doesn't have to tell you you can buy a roast beef sandwich on Tuesdays. Unless it's prohibited, you can do it. When it comes to public service, and I was one since 1995, your powers are told what you can do, opposite of a member of the public. So unless the government who created your title, whether it's librarian, school teacher, mayor, trustee, police officer, judge, etc., your powers are told what you can do. And unless you're given the power as you can do, you can't. And that's what I don't think people really want to understand and accept. It's that simple. You can't just vote because you're a majority. You can for most things, but not to exercise the powers that belong to somebody else. And I think when people understand that and realize that, they'll be okay. For example, a trustee made a complaint about me to the federal government, believe it or not. A trustee doesn't have the authority to enforce laws and see to them they're being prosecuted. That belongs to the mayor in Section 4 of Article 400. Local laws, rules, and regulations. a trustee making a complaint against me to the federal government and insisting on being anonymous doesn't exist, but it happened. And the federal government called me the other day and said, this sounds personal. I said, well, you can take it for what it is. And he said, there's nothing here to be investigated, and they said, this is closed. It's not even going to be investigated. Huh?
Yeah, like the advisory board.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Two complaints
No,
against
but, well, the federal government is right. If I had a problem with you, I have your ass arrested, that'd be it.
Correct, you as a private citizen can do that.
That's the solution, it's not.
That's correct. You are
Right, right.
You got one.
You are 100% correct.
Thank you.
But
I agree with you.
the complaint that was made had no merit whatsoever, and it was not even investigated.
We understand.
The point is that if everyone understands what the limits of their powers are as public servants, things would be a lot better. I wasn't about to kick in a door because I knew they were selling drugs in there. Because they have protection from me called the Constitution and rights. It's the same thing here. Unless you're given the power by statute, you don't have it. And you can't vote to usurp it because it doesn't exist. And I think if people understood that, things would be a little bit better.
Thank you, Rob. Pat?
Yeah, I guess real quick. Pat Dillonville. You really need a manager in this village. I've been a manager for many years, big corporation. Trust me, I don't want this manager job. This is the village of Montgomery. You're a village. There's too much trying to get you. Every meeting I come to, it's like, I'm trying to get you, everybody's trying to trap each other in the village. You're a village, calm down. You need a manager to come in here who's an expert at de-escalation, talking to people, dealing with HR, dealing with EI. You need somebody to come in here to control the village and to be responsible for everything, who knows the laws, who knows the rules. And I'll guarantee when you hire the manager, half these people are going to be cursing about, in 6 months anyway. But he's going to be an expert, and he knows how to deal with it.
Or she.
Thank you, Pat.
Whatever you want. I did this for a living. They said whatever you want. They will be an expert at handling this type of people.
I have to say this. The amount of shit that I inherited was unbelievable. It was just unbelievable. The amount of questioning that the last trustees, Canaro, Wilbur, myself, and Dulcich had to go through with not just the senior center, but other things. It's just everything from bills, from backups, from bids that went out that we just couldn't stay on top of. And that's where a village manager, in my opinion, would control things, would stop it, would keep it under control.
It's not a relative of anybody in the town.
Excuse me?
In other words, it shouldn't be a relative of the town guy, the town, whatever, the department over here. It shouldn't be a relative of the head of the chief of police. It shouldn't be a relative of yours. It shouldn't be anybody's relative. It should be somebody outside of the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do a nationwide search for something like that. So, anybody else? Doug?
Mike, do we have a noise ordinance in the village of Montgomery?
Doug, I should have stayed home the day this happened, where I lost my hearing aid.
Do we have a noise ordinance in the village of Montgomery?
I'm sure we do. I'm sure we have one.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
It seems that the police department isn't aware of it.
Okay.
And who's the other one? There's a couple of people that aren't aware of it that should be made aware of it.
What? Explain further.
I'll bring it up at a village board meeting. This probably isn't the place.
No, you can say it right now. Just say it.
But the other night, Halloween night, 88 Charles Street was going nuts. The windows in my house were rattling. I'm not
I can hear it at
exaggerating.
my house.
You can hear it at your house. So
Okay.
all my neighbors, we all talked about it. And I called 88 Charles Street and I said, hey guys, I'm one of your neighbors. Do you think you could turn the music down a little bit? And it was obviously a bass.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Sure.
DJ guy, but this base, I kid you not when I say my windows were rattled. I had new windows.
How did they deal with it?
So they said, oh, I'll tell them to turn it down. Nothing happened. I called the police department. 15 minutes later, I figured the guy could have made it to the phone to the DJ within 15 minutes. Nothing happened. So I called the police department. I got the police communication person, whoever that is.
That's 911 out in Goshen.
So, gee, I don't think that, I'm not aware of any, ordinance in the village of Montgomery. Okay, I said, well, could you send somebody over there and tell them to turn the music down a little bit? And the music went on till 11:30 that night.
And it never went down.
11:30. Come on, man, that's a little.
You're right. And
that is a residential neighborhood.
the way you handled it was professional. It was really good. I'm sorry it didn't work out for you. I had 2 complaints from Java Blue that they had their table out on the sidewalk. They wanted me, the complainant didn't give a name, wanted me to send the building inspector. I called them up on the phone. It was within a couple of month thing. I'm sorry, and they pulled it in.
Yeah.
So the way you handled it was, I'm sorry that happened that way.
Listen, it doesn't happen all the time. It's not every Friday night, anything like that. But it does happen on occasion where it is bizarre. And I can't imagine a guy across the street, directly across the street, has kids. I don't know how the hell those kids.
Thank you, Doug.
I'm going to go over there and address it with him man to man, and hopefully it won't happen again. But if it does, I think the police department should be made.
There is a noise ordinance. I couldn't quote exactly what it is, but there is a noise ordinance. Thank you, Doug. All right, anybody else? Yes.
Mike, when the advisory board was evicted on 9/3.
You were not evicted.
We were allowed back in the building after 9/3.
You were not evicted. Wrong word.
We were not allowed, and we have records here from Audrey, D'Angelo. I would like those records back. I'm the historian, keeping the 43 years of records. That's the only thing that I have missing. They were in the storage room, okay, they were in the storage room behind the filing cabinets. The filing cabinets as far as, I just want those records from Audrey. They were all the accounting of all the fundraising, fund balances, everything was in there. She did a beautiful ledger. Very impressive for someone who used to manage a $17 million budget. She was very good. And also, did we get the rest of our safe?
Not going to discuss that now.
But can I get my records?
I'm not going to discuss it. That's not what we're doing. We're not going to discuss this. We're not going to discuss this.
I'm asking for records.
We're not going to discuss this. All right. Yes, Mark.
You're going to miss the meeting. I might miss that meeting. So I just wanted to mention, say one thing. I was going to say the meeting on Wednesday.
Mark, you've already spoken.
This is informational. I'm not going to criticize anybody. Okay, so this is informational. I went to the ZBA, I went to the planning board. A resident of Weaver Street informed me that there was a bald eagle over the KSH site. Okay, so I'm on the town CAC. They came to me and asked me, look into it. So I called the DEC, and I just want to let you know, and whoever filmed you, that I got in touch with the DEC. They got back to me. They wanted me to provide more information. I called the person and talked to them and provide more information and follow up on this. There could be either a nesting or a roosting site there. If there is, I don't know what's going to happen, but potentially, I'm thinking.
Go right ahead, Mark. Just make sure that you're not considered trespassing there or anything, though.
I'm not going to go on the site. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm saying I'm going to follow it as far as with the DEC and have them get.
Go right ahead, Mark.
If there's a roosting site or a nesting site, there is. I don't know what the outcome is. I don't even know if it could be bird flying by, but I just wanted to let you and the trustees know and the people in the village know.
There must be a nesting site around, because when I'm playing pickleball, I see the eagles all the time.
But you don't know the nesting site. It's going to be across the river. I don't know. I mean, what I'm saying is that there's a nesting, a roosting site on KHH site. It could affect the seagull. It could make
When the leaves are gone, get in touch with me. I have my purple line. There's a roosting site. I'll find you.
Folks, I thank you all for coming out tonight. I hope to have more of these in the future. Good night, everyone.